The motion is on the need to investigate the foreign exchange backlog accumulation, the recent activities of foreign exchange market, as well as some of the development finance program of the CBN from 2015 to date.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the eighth order of the day is a motion standing in the name of distinguished Senator Izunaso Osita on the need to investigate the foreign exchange backlog accumulation, the recent activities in the foreign exchange market, as well as some of the development finance programs of the Central Bank of Nigeria from 2015 to date. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Izunaso Osita to move the motion.
Distinguished Senator Izunaso.
Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues. My name is Senator Osita Izunaso. I represent Imo West. Mr. President, the motion is on the need to investigate the foreign exchange backlog accumulation, the recent activities of foreign exchange market, as well as some of the development finance program of the CBN from 2015 to date. The Senate is aware that the unification of exchange rate by the present administration in June 2023 was a major economic reform aimed at endangering transparency in the forex market, including through eliminating opportunities for round-tripping. It equally enthrones market forces in the determination of exchange rate for the naira in Nigerian forex exchange market. The Senate is also aware that the reforms above, which are laudable and commendable, has thrown up a major challenge of illiquidity occasioned by the fact that the CBN, which is the major supplier of forex in the market, has inadequate free foreign reserve for intervention, as most of the country's external reserves are encumbered in derivative contracts entered into by the CBN. Mindful that the execution of the foreign contract in Nigeria foreign exchange market is done through authorized dealing banks, while the market infrastructure and trading platform is provided by the FMDQ, group licensed by the Security and Exchange Commission, SEC, but largely owned by the authorized dealing banks, who collectively are majority shareholders, while the CBN is a minority shareholder. Alarmed and concerned about some curious development in the NAFEM, where the CBN, via a circular dated January 31st, 2024, confirmed that the banks had accumulated substantial holdings of foreign currency for their own account and directed that such holdings be unwound by February 1st, 2024. Shocked that on February 5th, Nigerian Tribune, a national newspaper, had in a report titled 8 Banks Holding Over $6 Billion, NOP Amidst FS Scarcity, published a list of banks and their net open positions, namely First Bank of Nigerian Holdings, $1.7 billion, Zenith Bank, $1.5 billion, GTCO, $1.47 billion, UBA, $796 million, FCMB, $495 million, Access Corporation, $308 million, Fidelity Bank, $101 million, and others. These figures, the newspaper claimed, were obtained from the bank's book as well as analysis by the Cardinal Stone Securities Limited, a non-bank security trading firm in Nigeria. Mr. President, disturbed that the curiosity just few days preceding the directive to the banks to unwind their FS holdings, the FMDQ had abruptly instituted a change effective January 29, 2024, in its methodology for computing the NAFEM rate, which resulted in a drastic upward movement in NAFEM rate from 890 per dollar, naira per dollar, on January 26, 2024 to 1,413 naira per dollar in February 1st, 2024. Mindful that in recent widely publicized interview on Arise Television, the governor of CBN, Mr. Cardoso, has stated that $2.4 billion out of the $7 billion foreign exchange backlog owed to banks, aviation, and other entities were not valid, and that the CBN had only cleared $2.4 billion out of the valid $4.6 billion FS backlog, leaving about $2.2 billion outstanding. Mindful that prior to this disclosure by the CBN, the bank, through its acting director of communications, had announced the engagement of a reputable firm for an independent forensic review, which reveals some gross abuse and significant non-compliance with market regulations, with about $2.4 billion being flagged for infraction, such as invalid import documents, non-existent entities, beneficiaries and account parties receiving more FS than requested, and instances where entities that did not request any FS received funds. Worried that this disclosure by the CBN governor equally raised a number of questions as to which financial institutions were involved in processing the invalid FS obligations, totaling $2.4 billion among others. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, the Senate is also aware that between 2015 to 2022, the CBN had rolled out and implemented several interventions in critical sectors of the economy. Aware also that the bank's involvement in developing financing were targeted at priority sectors of the economy that had the potential to transform the productive base of the economy.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to move for extension of time to enable this Allo Chamber conclude on this lengthy motion and the debates therefrom, so that we can see beyond 2 p.m. I so move, Mr. President, subject to order.
Minority Leader.
Okay, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that this Senate extends the time beyond 2 o'clock to enable conclude this motion and other items on the order paper. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those who are in support of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished Senator Izunaso, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll continue from where I stopped. That the Senate is also aware that the bank's involvement in development financing were targeted at priority sectors of the economy that had the potential to transform the productive base of the economy to facilitate growth, stimulate sustainable jobs, expand non-oil export basket to enhance the foreign exchange earning capability of the economy and facilitate financial inclusion. Note that the notable among these intervention schemes is the Anchor Borrower Program, APB, which the current management of the CBN plans to discontinue, owing to the current weak state of the CBN balance sheet. Its disposition to focus on taming inflation and cost largely by liquidity surface resulting from the raft of intervention, as well as the distortionary effect the subsidized interest rate at single digit has on the financial market. Conscious that Section 88 of 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, empowers the Senate to direct or cause to be directed an investigation into matters which respect to which it has powers to make law, and the powers conferred on the National Assembly as exercisable for the purpose of enabling it to expose corruption, inefficiency, or waste in the execution of administration of laws within its legislative competence and in the disbursement of administration funds appropriated by it. Concerned about the urgent need to investigate the propriety or otherwise of the recent development in the Nigeria Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market, NAFEM, the accumulation of forex backlog, and the development financing program of the CBN between 2015 to date in order to cleanse the financial services sector, foster trust among market participants, and bolster confidence among internal and external stakeholders. The Senate is accordingly asked to resolve as follows: to mandate the Committee on Banking, Insurance, and Other Financial Institutions to conduct a holistic investigation into, 1, the propriety or otherwise of the recent developments in Nigeria Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market, NAFEM. 2, circumstances and the issues involved in the foreign exchange backlog, particularly the invalid 2.4 billion transfer as mentioned by the CBN governor. 3, development financing programs of the CBN of Nigeria, particularly the Anchor Borrowers Program, and report back to the Senate within 4 weeks. I so move, Mr. President.